Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Vitrag Vignan, or Holistic Inner Science Satsang on Science of Everyday Living. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. We'll have a three mantra and, okay, Manisha Ben, please do the three mantra with Deepakanandji. Deepakanandji.
Namo Vitragai,
Namo Vitragai,
Namo Arihantanam,
Namo Arihantanam,
Namo Siddhanam,
Namo Siddhanam,
Namo Ayariyanam,
Namo Ayariyanam,
Namo Vajjayanam,
Namo Uvajjayanam,
Namo Loe Sava Sahunam,
Namo Loe Sava Sahunam,
Eso Panchanamukaro,
Aiso Panchanamukkaro,
Savapavappanasano,
Sauva Pavappanasano,
Mangalanam cha Savesim,
Mangalanam cha Sauvesim,
Padamam Havai Mangalam,
Padamam Havai Mangalam.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevai,
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand.
Okay, what is Vitrag Vignan, or what is Holistic Inner Science? Just to brief everybody, it is the science propounded by the Vitragas. This science highlights the principles and true knowledge related to inner self, soul, liberation, regulatory power, and science of everyday living for happiness all the time. So who are Vitragas? Those who are totally free from raga dvesas, that's likes and dislikes, anger, pride, attachments, and greed, and who attain the highest spiritual evolution, whom we know as absolute livings, God, Arihants, Tirthankaras, and Gnanis. For us, this science was revealed by Sri A.M. Patel, popularly known as Dada Bhagwan. He always categorically told all the people he met that he was not Dada Bhagwan, but what has manifested the divine knowledge of 360 degrees inside is Dada Bhagwan. And this Dada Bhagwan is same in everybody, all of us, but the light of knowledge and perception is obscured by inner or self-ignorance within us. And that is why we are here now today to work, to understand the science. Now, let me first introduce our expert today. He is Deepakanandji from Satsang from India. He has a bachelor's degree in electrical engineer. He worked for a while in the industry, and then he quit industry to learn and propound the science. From very childhood, he was always looking for answers to the puzzles of the life, and he got that through self-realization when he got self-realized through self-realized Gnani Purush or holistic science, Sri A.M. Patel. Since then, he has pursued his dream of passing this science, making people understand the science and how they can be free, how can they be happy by question and answers. Like I said, he's devoted all his life and he has traveled extensively throughout the world, have attended many seminars, conferences, and he is also an expert in interrelationship questions. So with that, we will move into our program. And we had some homework last time. So if anybody has the homework to look at our first divine code of conduct, to see how our mind, speech, and body gives hurt others' ego. Anybody? Okay, I'll talk about my experience or experiment, what I call it. You know, I find that hurting through speech is more prevalent in my dealings. Body, of course, is there because of the expression gestures, and especially which may be not liking or suitable to other people, and especially the loved ones. For the mind, my mind is pretty much trained or have mind that I do not think bad about other people, or I don't see other people uh, 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 as doshit as normally, because I used to work in the industry with so many people. So you have to just make sure that you do not have any judgment on other people. So, but my speech in the interaction, Rajneet is times very quick to react, which causes others to hurt and not like what I'm saying. And that realization is coming day by day slowly. And I keep telling Rajni that you have to be careful, you have to be careful. And knowing the science now, you know, there's a lot of work Rajni needs to do on especially the speech part. So a realization that a lot work is to do. Deepakanandji, you have any question before we introduce any comments before we introduce the topic?
Okay, I will just give my observation. Here, I would like to refer to one of the striking aphorisms of the holistic scientist, Mr. A.M. Patel. He said, learn to acknowledge everyone's worldly authority, what you call as ego, and recognize the inner Almighty God. I'll repeat, learn to acknowledge everyone's worldly authority, that is ego, and recognize the inner Almighty God. You see, in this world, there are very few blessed ones who are self-realized, who has wisdom of knowledge, what we call as truth, and due to which they are uh, practically free from ego. But the rest of the world, people of the world, they all have ego without exception, and it is of varied intensities. So we must always be very careful dealing with them. This is because ego is everything for them. They live as ego, as I am, and they will never compromise their ego in any situation of their life. Although they are unaware of that because it has become their second nature to live by their ego, and they identify themselves by their ego only. And as we have seen, ego is given name body self-belief, as body self-belief as I am. And naturally our life revolves around our given name. We all know that. And so in everyone's else's life as well, without any exception, this would be there. Naturally, at some point of time, we would have definitely hurt others. And what I have observed, one way or the other, we end up hurting others because everyone is bent on pacifying their own ego. When my ego is hurt, I attack. I will just narrate a small instance of my school time. I was in my 8th grade, and we had a free class. So the teacher was not there, and someone had brought some old pictures of our 2nd grade class. You know, they make the group picture. And looking at the group photo, spontaneously, one of my classmates made a very loose comment looking at my dress for my parents. And surprisingly, my ego bursted badly. And at that very moment, I mean, I would say notoriously, I got hurt. And otherwise, I was a very peaceful, decent, well-behaved boy in the class. And ultimately, I beat up my friend in the middle of the class. Luckily, at that time, there wasn't any teacher in the class, so everything went well. But now, while I recall this episode, I realize my mistake and truly mentally apologize for the same. On similar lines, if we really check out our life story, I believe we will surely find bunch of instances, small and big, where our ego was hurt and we behaved or misbehaved violently, and maybe we have never corrected ourselves all these years. And of course, this is another area of self-correction on the path of peaceful and happy living. So this is what ego plays such a vital role in our life. When it gets hurt, we violently react. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your input. We have input from one of the audience. Go ahead. So, Laban, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, I'd like to know what is the difference between fine line between ego and self-respect.
Ego and what?
Yes.
Self-respect.
Self-respect. Okay. Can we take this? Can we talk this a little bit later? Okay. Ego and self-respect. Okay, let's talk to this topic, and then we will take Salaban's question. You know, we have been looking at Vyavahar Vignan to be how to be happy. Now, we go through many things every day since we wake up till we go to bed. And we think we did everything fine, but how do we gauge ourselves? So for that, the holistic scientist, Sri M. Patel, has given us 9 divine codes of conduct. Okay. Previous Sundays, we talked about the first one, like Deepakanandji was alluding on, hurting others' ego. Today, we're going to the second one, and that is, oh Lord, bless me with such an infinite inner strength so as not to hurt or support someone hurting even the slightest extent the foundation or viewpoint of any religion or faith. Bless me with such an inner strength that in thinking, speech, and conduct, I would restrain from hurting any religion, viewpoints, or belief. So, Deepakanandji, please introduce the topic, and then we'll have some question and answer, including the question already from the audience.
Surely, yes. We will take a brief perspective of religion in the world today from past generations, we'll say. And let us first begin with the dictionary meaning of religion. It says a set of beliefs concerning the cause, nature, and purpose of the universe, especially when considered as the creation of a superhuman agency or agencies usually involving devotional and ritual observances, and often containing a moral code of conduct regarding human affairs. So we will try to see in last, let's say, 2,000, 3,000 years. And we all know in the world today that we have Christianity, we have Judaism, we have Islam, we have Hinduism, and then several others. We'll just try to see the basic understanding. Islam has 5 pillars as guidelines that if you follow these 5 pillars, then you are considered as following the Islam religion. We will not go into the details, but it is regarding your faith. How do you identify God? What will you do and how will you live your life? So the God belief and how will you live your life, worldly life, that they have packed up in the 5 pillars of Islam. If you look at Christianity and Judaism, they are the fundamental religions from the Abrahamic time. We know that they have the 10 commandments. And again, in those 10 commandments, they have expressed the nature of God and how will you live your life, your worldly life, such that you don't hurt others. You are more careful and caring and sharing. If you study those 10 commandments, then again you come to that. Then we will try to see Hinduism. Mainly it is Indian religion, and in this area, Asiatic area, it is also called Sanatan Dharma. Basically, the older version of Hinduism, what they call the orthodox version, they are identified and explained or followed by 6 fundamental beliefs. What they call as 6 Shad Darshan, 6 point of views to understand reality and existence of life. They are Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, Vedanta. And in Vedanta, there are a bunch of 7 types. And one of that is what we know as Swaminarayan. The latest version, this was the older version, they believe in the 6 darshan, 6 forms of, or 6 systems to understand life and living. Then the latest version, we have Buddhism, Jainism, Ajivika, what the Google says, but I want to highlight certain things and others. These, the later ones, somehow or the other, they have taken part from the older one, and they have expressed themselves or come out with a different belief structure, or what you call as religion. There are others, school of thoughts like Shaivism. There are several of them are there. In Hindu, there are what you call as 4 Purusharth also. That is Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. What is it? Understand your duties, your work, your desires, fulfillment of desires, and finally, what will you do for your liberation? There are other Western philosophers also whose philosophies are quite famous in the field of philosophy. Plato, Kant, Buddha, Confucius, Averroes. I was just scanning through. But what I want to highlight over here is everyone is born in a family, and he gets that recognition of the family. And since that family follows a religion, naturally being born in that religion, I mean, that religious family, he gets that religion, that belief naturally. He gets it. And of course, he follows that religion. Now, if you look at all these religions now, so I've just given the brief idea about different beliefs, religions of the world presently there. So you would be born as human, would be born in any of the family following that particular religion. So you or every individual has a particular set of beliefs with which he is born, and he grows up with that belief. And of course, when he passes through his academic education, then he comes across other people also. But everyone lives by their religious belief so strongly. And like how you have territorial identity, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm Canadian, I'm British, so on. People have a very strong belief with their connection with the religion. I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Hindu, so and so, so and so. And the world is such today, we come across, we interact so much. So if I try to insist, or I believe that my religion is on the top, where everyone believes that that religion is perfect and on the top and it is number one, we all experience that. Because we ourselves experience, believe that. And now, looking at the scenario, we will just recall the statement of the scientist of the millennium, Albert Einstein, what he has said about religion. Of course, he has connected with science because he was a man of science. So he has said that religion without science is blind. Religion without science is blind. And science without religion is lame, handicapped. There's a lot of thing to be understood in this. What it says, and here if we just evaluate the holistic science, the holistic science or the Vitrag Vignan or the spiritual science of the absolutes, Tirthankaras, they don't fit in any of these religious demarcation, definition. Although they have been identified in some or the other religious belief and they are put as their gods. But if you look into the heart of these absolutes, then they don't connect themselves because they were totally impartial living beings. And they had reached the highest level of experience of perfection. And that is why this science of Vitrag Vignan or holistic science, what we say, is at the core of every existence, every living existence. And if we understand this science, then religions won't matter. Although, because everyone is born in a religion, I'm also born in a religion, you're also born in a religion, maybe a different religion. But then when I have this science, when I know this science, when I'm aware of this science, which is at the core of every existence, core of every religion, in fact, it is goal of every religion. And when that is known, understood, and well digested, I will say, then this
Deepakanandji?
Did you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So the idea is at the core of every religion, this holistic science is there. And if we know this science, then the outside matter. So it is like in different packing, if the same material is there, then you don't get carried away or get disturbed by the packing. Because you know, back of your mind, you know that, oh, the same material is there in this different manifestation or different packing. And then we live in this world with our outside belief. So we, with this science, with this vision of science, we will be able to understand the other person's viewpoint, that is other person's religion, other person's belief. We will be able to easily adjust to their belief, at the same time still remain in the center of perfection. That is oneness. And I believe that is the purpose of the second code, because after ego, that is individual identification and individual belief, this group belief, I will say, religious belief plays a very vital role in claiming one's identity, that I am so and so with that religion, I connect myself with that religion. And the world today has become such, you interact with all different kind of people. And apart from religion, everyone have their own personal beliefs. So if you have to live with everyone, coexist harmoniously, happily, and for your own happiness, we will have to understand, accept, adjust, and still remain in perfection. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. But the question arises that, what is the main purpose of Gnani Purush giving us this second code of conduct as far as in our daily life concerned, and how does it impact our thinking and our future life?
Okay, let us try to understand. Number one, is that a binding? Is that my limitation to identify myself with a particular religion only, with a particular belief only? If I bind myself, then I can never be freed. So that is why it is said, you are bound by your belief. And freedom, if you really know the definition of freedom, is to free yourself from every kind of belief is freedom. Viewpoint, to free yourself from every kind of viewpoint. The reason is, you look at any individual, do you find whether, can you identify his territorial identity by looking at the person?
No.
Can you find, okay, certain traits are common with certain people, that's a different thing, but then you cannot really say for sure. Then do you find a mark anywhere written on their body, which religion he believes in?
No.
And at the same time, if someone is very hard-headed believer of any religion and he says, I don't want to connect myself with any other religion, and maybe he is admitted and he is required to transfuse, blood is needed. Is it possible that he will get the blood of the same religious belief people? It's not possible.
No.
So it is very, this territorial belief makes us narrow-minded, religious belief makes us narrow-minded. We have our own personal beliefs, which further makes us very narrow-minded. And if you really want to live happily, you have to have some factor of openness, adjustment, acceptance, appreciation.
So,
right? So this second belief, the first one relates to ego, that is individual identity and individual narrow-mindedness, I will say. And the second one is group identity. So when you are freed from these two aspects, basically, then things become very easy. Your life becomes easy. You'll be more happier than ever.
so what I gather from what you're saying, that with this, if you heard some other religions, foundations, or beliefs, and try to compare with yours, then you bind yourself, and the freedom we are all seeking here, that gets enclosed. Is that
Okay,
my?
true. Let us analyze that. Because of my religious belief, I believe I'm right. And naturally, I believe the other person is wrong. His belief is wrong. So I will misbehave, I will think negatively, I will deal negatively, verbally and dealing wise interactionally. So naturally, something is going out from here which is violent, which is hurting the other person. Now, if you look at the pure science, then every action and reactions are equal and opposite. It's a proven science.
True.
So if I'm hurting someone, somewhere, sometime, it's going to come back to me. So if I'm keen on being happy all the time, then I cannot afford to live in a way that I'm hurting others. Let it be anything, whether it is my ego, whether it is my religious belief, scientific, educational, territorial, there are a bunch of beliefs. So this adjustment is very important. Acceptance. So when I pray, when I decide, then naturally that adjustment factor will come, and I see that I don't hurt anyone religious belief.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah, that makes sense. At least we can understand the second code of conduct, and we can always hold our horses when we're thinking or talking something about the other religion. Now, one thing I like to point out, that what Dada Bhagwan gave us is the essence of all holy scriptures. Like Deepakanandji talked about different religions, but what we got from him is the essence of all holy, and it was practiced by him, and because of his practice, he got the self-realization. And for our understanding, or my understanding, is this code of conducts are for my own personal, my projections, my vows or wishes are my own inner projections for inner transformation for my rich living. So that's why I understand that. So with that, we'll put up the question. Kanchan Bhai had a question. We lost it. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Kanchan Bhai.
Okay, my question is, if you're firmly following the religion, in another words, if I have a strong belief that I want to follow about the religion, every religion says that you do not hurt anybody by mind, speech, and body. If I follow that, how far can I go without meeting any scientist for the spiritual scientist before I meet him? How far can I go?
Okay. It can be said that your spirituality will begin with this projection, with this conviction, with this prayer not to hurt anyone, and it will take you that finality of that absolute experience of oneness. That much strength it has, that much power it has. So it's like, if I'm violent, then I'll be among those people only But when my projection changes, then those projections will bring changes in me. So naturally, my company will change. My people with whom I deal will change. So eventually, that will connect me to those individuals who are in this path of perfection, path of total happiness, liberation, and that's how I come along with them, and I get further guidance.
So in other words, that's not enough. There is a chance. There are chances that I could fall down.
No, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying these basic is from very fundamental, most elementary prayer from 0 to 100. It will make you perfect. The beginning is this in a very elementary form, just by saying through my thought, speech, and action, I don't want to hurt anyone. But in its finality, you will become that perfect. So it's like as we learn academically, we go grade 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, college, masters, further, and then PhD, and then many, many PhDs. Is it there?
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's how it is such a wonderful prayer, common for all and easily followed. And the result you get is enormous, amazing, out of our reach. Is that?
Thank you very
and
much.
that can make me meet some spiritual scientist.
Naturally, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
It's,
Next is Sonu Ben, and before that, Sonu Ben, we know the power of prayer, so scientifically it should work. Okay, Sonu Ben, go ahead.
I didn't have any question.
Okay, I thought you had. Okay. Anybody else? Vinod Bhai, go ahead.
So the original word used in the second code of conduct is dharma, and we have translated that into religion. Now my question is, when dharma, to me, the meaning of that is the innate nature of anything or the basic property of anything, that is its dharma. So my question is, when Dada Bhagwan gave this conduct, did he mean it in the sense of religion, or did he mean this in the more basic sense of the word dharma, meaning its property or nature? Because if I apply it to property or nature, then any belief anybody has is its nature. The ego of a person to somebody who is not self-realized is its nature. So basically then it is asking me to honor to take into account and to honor any belief which is at the core of a person's existence, not just a religion.
True, very true. So it's like, what does kindergarten children, what is their belief? What is their, you take him to the class of spirituality to break your head,
Right.
right?
Right.
And if you bring those that level of spiritual guy into the kindergarten class, he will go mad. So the level of understanding as it grows, the same thing gets manifested with a higher form of belief, with a higher level of understanding, and its finality is what you have said. Because
so what was Dada Bhagwan's intent in this code? Was it just a basic religion, or starting with
the idea is basic religion only, because see, we are so much fanatic in our religious belief. It's not easy. You look at anyone, It is, I believe that only after a very long exposure to this holistic science that someone will be really be out of his own family religious belief. Not that his insistence for that. That's what I'm pointing at. He says, after all, my religion is right.
Right.
And that openness will come when we really get blended with the fundamentals and the science of holism. We don't talk, we start living those principles. But see, it's like this prayer is so fundamental, so elementary. It takes care of people at the lower level and at the most highest level also. That is the thing.
Thank you.
Okay, Deepakanandji, there was a question. Now you've been talking about ego, and now Vinod Bhai brought something out. And everybody has self-respect. Everybody has a belief on certain things, which is their own religion, whatever. So the question was, what's the difference between ego and self-respect?
What is the fine line between?
Ego, when it is more self-centered, then it will hurt the other person. But when it is in relation to self-respect, then a person with self-respect also knows to maintain and respect the other person's existence also. So while protecting or taking care of his self-respect, he will not cross the boundaries that the other person is hurt. But if it is ego, ego doesn't see anything. Ego is a blind state of affair. I see my things only. I don't see other people's stuff at all. I don't care. I believe that is quite explanatory.
Is that
While
okay?
safeguarding your self-respect, if you are hurting others, then it is not self-respect, I believe.
That's right.
Ego.
That's right. Right.
Is that okay, Salaman?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank
I
you.
got it.
Now, I have one question before we go on the experience side of our normal routine. Deepakanandji, we talk about religion, but we do not talk on the other about spiritual. So what is the connection between religion, spirituality, and what is really both of them mean?
Okay, spiritual or spirituality is more scientific, whereas religion is more ritualistic. Religion is belief-based. People have set of beliefs and they come into this a particular religion. Whereas spirituality deals with, I believe, of every individual, which is totally or rather far away from religious belief. So spirituality deals with science as it is, and religion is more over belief-based and more ritualistic. So if in my religion, if I do this prayer or perform this prayer this way, with this kind of prostration, then it will be different in other religion. And if you follow this one, then they say that's not right. But science is solely based on scientific principle only and pure science. So spirituality will never have any problem with anyone. You cannot have this spirituality and that spirituality. Whereas this religion and that religion will come into picture.
So what's the connection? Is there connection of religion and spirituality? Is one
Yes,
translated
at
into
the core, everyone is spiritual. Outside, different beliefs, everyone professes different beliefs. So outside, their belief-wise religions are different, but the core, the heart is same. Okay, so they are not different actually, but religion with spiritual understanding or scientific understanding of the religion. That's why it is said religion without science is blind.
Yes, yes.
And if that science is without religion, then it is lame. What it means, after knowing the science, you have to respect the religion. Knowledge of science does not allow you to disregard any religion or religious belief.
True, true.
I'm a man of science, I don't believe in religion. No. If a man of science is there, he will accept and believe in every religion.
But in
He will not utter a word that will affect or hurt any religion. That is science.
In ritualistic, isn't there a science behind that to do certain things, certain way? There is
Everything is science, but it's a viewpoint.
Okay.
What it means, science is 0 to 100% is the science. So they have picked a portion of it and included in their ritual. And that is why religion is actually great. It has gradation. And the thermometer or measure of gradation is how much they believe in non-violence. More violent is lower form of religion, less violence is higher form of religion. And a man of science, perfect spiritual science, will not hurt anyone.
Okay.
That's why the Vitragas, the absolutes, the Tirthankaras, the Gnanis, they are like that. They are that higher level of non-violence. They have no problem. Their state of being itself is such, in their vicinity, certain distance, nothing can happen. They're not doing that. Their inner vibration is such, very positive, that inner peace and steadiness is such that any disturbance, it's like, you know, a spiritual, scriptural example is like this. Any water from river, what do you say, with a lot of disturbance, the river enters the ocean. But when it enters the ocean, it forgets or its identity is lost.
True.
And it becomes one with the ocean. So that's how spirituality is such. When religion touches spirituality, it will not have its identity. It becomes one. So that one is there in these many different facets of religious faith.
Yes.
That's one.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, you know, normally this time we do experience. So I'm going to put you on the spot. You know, earlier I gave definition of Vitraga Vijnana as the principles of inner self, soul, liberations, and happy living. So in your experience, if you can expound on some experience on one of the principles that has gone transformation on your part, that will be good.
Okay. It was a very striking example or a striking phase I passed through. In my younger age, I was quite aggressive, outspoken, violent. I was not happy with it. So it was my quest. I was really searching what to do. And here I can definitely say that whenever you are really after something, you want something desperately, the nature provides you with that. That's what had happened. I was wanting some solution, some workable solution, effective solution. And it came to me as a book. And just few pages I read, it highlighted on the food we eat. And I could relate myself. And when the way it said that, I give an example. A normal gun is there. You can put a rubber bullet in it and shoot someone. What is going to happen? Result one. Number two, I put a metal bullet into it. I shoot at someone. What is the result? And finally, I put a bullet which is with high explosive content, gunpowder in it. With the same gun, what it is going to happen? It will blow the other person. It will blow the target. If you hit with the rubber bullet, it will just hit the target and the bullet will fall. It will not, maybe it will create a small dent on the target. If it is a metal bullet, maybe it will make a hole, make a bigger dent. But explosive, so that's how the kind of food you eat, whether it is like a rubber bullet or a metal bullet or an explosive, it is going to affect your life and living, because food has direct connection with our mind, that is our thoughts. And we all live by our mind, by our thoughts. So it's like in any situation, if you are there, if I am there, I will behave based on what thoughts I get. And you will behave based on what thoughts you have or you get. So with the type of food, definitely the nature of thoughts would be different. And I really, I mean, it really helped me cool down. And it really helped me. And that's how gradually it went on higher and higher and higher.
So what was your food of small bullet, big bullet, and powder explosions? So you have to give us some your experience.
See, this, it is like, I was eating stuff which was make me very aggressive.
For example?
How do you say that? Way back when we were small, I believe small, then certain non-vegetarian stuff was also eaten by us. And afterwards we stopped eating that, and then we were eating the onion, garlic, which who are in the field of spirituality, they say that reduce that. If you eat too much, then it will make your body very unstable. It will make your mind unstable, maybe very violent. And that's how it changed. And so I made a ruling at my home. I told, from tomorrow, I'm not going to eat all this stuff. I will not ask you why you have made this stuff, but I'm not going to eat. So as outcome of this decision, for several years, I have eaten chapati, dal, and rice. No vegetable, because vegetable had that stuff in it. That's it.
There's a question.
I never forced anyone.
There's a question
I never
on.
forced anyone. I never forced anyone. I never insisted. But wherever, I never said also that I want this kind of stuff. If it is there, according to my my standard, I eat. If it is not there, then I have eaten biscuit and water also.
Okay. There's a question before we conclude.
Sure, yes. Yeah.
Vinod bhai?
Uh, two things. One is, you said you were looking for solutions or answers. So what kind of problems or questions were you looking for solutions and answers for? And the second thing is, you mentioned that you changed your diet and you thought there's a connection between your thoughts and what you're eating, and we have heard that a lot. But in practice, we find also that certain people, say for example, even here in America or in India, who are eating non-vegetarian diet, but they are otherwise very peaceful and they were very caring people and not seemingly non-violent. And same thing, a lot of people who are vegetarians, you find them quite aggressive also. So how do you explain that?
See, guns are different, The power of the guns are different. So when the gun itself is not powerful, even if you put an explosive bullet in it, it's not going to shoot that hard. Do you understand? But the gun is powerful. And if you put the explosive bullet in it, it is going to make a disaster. Right? So, and also one more thing. It is like someone has come with a temperament. So to that, I relate the type of the gun. I give you an example. I came across a small kid, 5 years old. We visited him. He was watching his cartoon program. And his father took us to their place. So the moment we entered their home, he just, without concerning or without anything, he just switched off the television. So the kid was watching his program. And very coolly, the father and we all sat there and we started talking. But somehow my attention got diverted to that 5 years kid. You know what he was doing? I was wondering, I said, what is happening? Forget it, he's like that only. After we left, that boy was like that for at least half an hour. And after we went, he hit his father very badly. And somehow his mother pacified him, cooled down, okay, let's go do this, do that, and took him away. Just imagine 5 years boy with that aggression. So if that is the temperament of that boy, and if he eats those kind of stuff, it's going to be a disaster. But any other guy who is cool, no problem.
So what you're saying is basically for any particular person, if one changes to a less aggressive diet, his temperament will become more calm. So if somebody is inherently very aggressive, he will become more pacified, but he still might be more violent compared to a normally pacified person.
I believe even today's science has proven that. But there are exceptions. So you cannot quote those exceptions as rule.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Deepakanandji, it's time for homework and then we'll wrap it up.
I would like to say that, now that the second code of conduct is discussed today so deeply, I believe for this coming 2 weeks, we will check ourselves, be mindful about when we deal with others, how much heed, how much respect we give to other person's belief whom we deal with, how much we are able to adjust with them and still remain cool and balanced inside. Shall I repeat? Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
It is.
Yeah, we have pretty much same audience coming all the time. So please be mindful about this and let us discuss that in 2 weeks' time, because this is an experiment which is going to help and be aware of what we are and what our mind and our action does. Okay. So with that one, I'd like to thank Deepakanandji for taking time to come and talk to us. I'd like to thank the audience for good, excellent questions and good participation. Thank you. Deepakanandji?
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity of sharing my experience. Thank you once again, and happy Mother's Day. Thank you.